Week 1. Cut out block letters and build a frame out of cardboard.
You will need 2 boxes of some kind, or if you just want to use one color so that you can skip the painting week, you can actually use just one single color of cardstock, for example. And you can build up a frame instead of doing what I'm doing here, which is stabbing the box and then cutting very difficultly from the middle to the edges and then clip it off to make a frame. Now I'll need another box so that I can cut out my letters, and I discovered something that when I peel off the top layer of the cardboard, it makes this beautiful texture. So I'm totally going to use that in my project later. Now, I noticed that the tear that I made looks a little bit like M-I, which is the beginning of Miss W.D. And so I am instantly going to start making my block letters, and I want to make them big enough so that all the letters of my name can create bridges across the gap of the frame. But if block letters are not too easy for you, I am going to show you a trick. So here we go. If you take a pencil and draw lightly, just a regular letter, like for example the letter S, draw a line perpendicular to your letter's edges, and then trace around the edges of your letters so that you can create almost like the skin around the bones of the letter. Be careful when you're cutting out your block letters that you do not clip your fingers. Keep those fingers out of the way as you are cutting, and then you can use this trick to make any letters. As long as there's some sort of end of the letter, you can draw a perpendicular line to it and then trace around the line to create the skin around the bones of your letter. I think it's a good idea to keep your space clean as you work, so keep a trash can next to you, and also to cut the letter out away from the rest of the letters so that you're not fighting with the other letters as you bend and twist to get your scissors inside of the gaps and holes and so forth. If you're using single color cardstock, you actually have the advantage that it's not as thick as regular cardboard like an Amazon box. These do not work ahead. If you have extra time, you can check out the Nearpod, but I don't want you to try to fit this all into 1 week or 2 weeks. This is a 3-week project, and that's the way it should be. So do your best with these block letters and the frame out of cardboard just this week. If you have any time, go to the Nearpod and then save it for next week, because now we're done with week 1.
Week 2. Glue bridges of letters across the gap of the frame.
Okay, so you've got this frame that you made out of a box and you've got these letters, but how are you going to place them across the opening without having them fall in? Well, it takes patience and creativity. Wherever you place them, you kind of have to think ahead. What letters am I going to put where? What letters are going to go on top, on the bottom? This does not have to be representational. That is, it does not have to show your name in order. But what it does have to do is to create a very solid bridge across the frame. And this will require some very careful grabbing and holding of the cardboard. Trust me when I say that you really want to make sure everything is glued carefully in week 2 so that it can dry before week 3. You will have to hold this for about 10 seconds or more. It looks like a shorter amount of time because I've sped up the video so much. So this took me about 20 minutes to do in real time, and I have it very much sped up so that you don't get bored. Glue only sticks when it's dry, so you will have to hold it very still without smushing it or moving it around, without using too much glue, in order for it to dry in place and keep your cardboard stuck together. Secure all the edges, because when you go to paint this on week 3, it's going to be pretty tricky. If you are somebody that spent week 1 purchasing cardstock of one color, then you are not going to be painting, but that doesn't mean that you should not keep it secure. A sculpture, like what we're making now, can stand on its own, will not fall apart, and so you do want to secure it very well. Don't just leave it. You do have to hold the pieces together for a little while before they stay stuck. As I show here, I messed up and had to go back. When you are all done, just leave it to dry until week 3. This week doesn't take too long to finish, so make sure you head over and do your Nearpod.
Week 3, paint the sculpture monochromatically.
First, a confession. I decided to use some ink mixed with water because I thought it would be faster and easier. Unfortunately, it was just too liquidy and did not actually coat the surface. So here I go, squirting some tempera paint onto it. Acrylic works probably even better. And I'm just spreading it out with a paintbrush. The entire frame, box, sculpture, everything needs to be painted. And I would say, don't have on your sleeves like I did. You do not want to get any paint on your sleeves. This is a bit of a messy process, but it's super fun to make sure you're coating everything. Monochromatically, if you break down the word into its roots, mono meaning one, and chroma meaning color, one color. Now, Louise Nevelson generally just used black or white, so that's why I went with black. But it is completely fine and acceptable to choose a different color or to use a different color of cardstock if you're not going to be using any paints.
Remember, upload a pic of your finished sculpture to the Nevelson Names upload.
Meow? I mean,